My name is Konstantin. Thanks for coming. I'm going to talk today about running IDEs and dashboards in JupyterHub. A little bit about me. This is my second JupyterCon. I'm currently working at Anaconda, but today presenting work done previously at Axel, where I run a data science platform for National Institute of Health. Initially, this talk was supposed to be like a discussion panel. Therefore, it has a little bit of intersections. Later got converted to a talk. So I invite everyone to go see Yuvi's talk tomorrow in this room at 12:10 p.m. We both talk about running cool applications in JupyterHub. There's a little bit of intersection, but today I'm going to focus more on IDs and dashboards. So why JupyterHub satellites? Our users needed more than just running notebooks. They want to have different IDEs. Some of them prefer coding in R, and many people prefer coding in R and RStudio. They needed dashboards implemented in R and Python APIs, and didn't want to develop web apps. And they wanted to run our Shiny and Streamlit and things like that. We, as platform managers and deployers, we wanted to run everything in one place with one auth, one spawn, one quotas, and access to the same data. Additionally, there were a lot of apps kind of deployed on-premise, standalone, and required a lot of dedicated support and dedicated servers, when in reality they didn't see a lot of day-to-day usage, even though they were valuable research applications. So the solution to that for us was implementing this satellites pattern, running different applications, and thanks to a project called Single Native Proxy, we were able to do that. So we put those applications in JupyterHub's orbit. I'm going to go through 3 case studies here for RStudio, our Shiny, and Streamlit, and I'm going to tell you about the lessons we learned and kind of results we've gotten. RStudio was a top request for NH training program because there's particular R packages they have. And it was really hard to get people and interns up and running. It was really hard to install particular packages. They were not on CRAN, they were not on Anaconda, they were just some repos with complicated installation instructions. So instructors wanted participants to get up and running quickly. So we helped them by creating an environment for them and creating RStudio running in JupyterHub. And as a result, they were able to host their classes, and we got really good feedback from them. They were able to find it and launch it very quickly and start working on the code and learning instead of figuring out all the setup. So we got same R environment for every student, same documents or code snippets to work on. They didn't have to do local installs unless they really wanted to. And the launcher, about which I'm going to talk a little later, was really obvious for them. One of the biggest use case we find by running different applications other than notebooks is dashboards, as I said. So these dashboard applications, if people not familiar, they allow you to use pretty simple Python or R APIs to build interactive web applications and make them available to, let's say, like less technical is a bad word, is not a greatest description, maybe non-coding or not implementing this kind of interfaces or not living in notebooks, but they still want to consume the data in very approachable interactive format. So these dashboards are not limited to them, but this is what we run, which allowed us to unlock a lot more different use cases for them. For our Shiny apps, as I said, there were valuable applications implemented showing scientific data and allowing scientific workflows, called Sequent, Joe's Flows, and Intlim. But the usage was sporadic. They seen just a couple of times a month people would log in, they would do their analysis and then leave. But the server is running 24/7. So pretty obvious decision for us was to invite them to run their Shiny applications on demand through JupyterHub. All they needed to do is to bring their environment, to bring their files, and create a launcher, and they were able to run it. We saw an impact that the cost went down because they didn't need to maintain their on-demand servers. The support would go to through JupyterHub maintainers, and they would use the same authentication, same access to the same files, which was great. And here's those applications. I realized talking to people at the conference, not a lot of people seen our Shiny, but it looks very similar if you've seen Streamlit or things like that. It allows you to create interactive application interfaces without any front-end knowledge, which is great for scientists, researchers, or maybe prototyping applications before fully committing to them. Another case study was related to Streamlit. We have a team of data scientists experimenting with RAG chatbots over OpenAPI in 2023. And they created scientific Q&A chatbot, but they didn't really want to build UI for that. So they reached for Streamlit, and we made it available to run through JupyterHub. That reached to widespread adoption at the organization because AI, as you know, very popular buzzword, and everyone wanted to try it. And yeah, so how we deployed it, Streamlit was one of those satellites applications launched through JupyterHub, and the RAG application would run as a JupyterHub service, making it available for everyone to connect to, be authenticated. We reached 300 plus researchers who tried it and subsequently tried JupyterHub and learned about notebooks, maybe if they didn't know about it. As a result, it was selected for participation in National AI Resource pilot program, and it allowed our developers, our data scientists, to iterate very quickly, which allowed to them to reach people first and then build, more permanent application later. So what do you want to do if you want to run this thing yourself and bring these applications to your JupyterHub? Essentially, you need three things. You want to find application that can be run through command line, which is a lot of them. It needs to expose its web interface through a particular port, better if you can control what port it is. And it needs to work with a base URL, which is a good software practice anyway. If you have all these three things, you can wrap your command for your application with whatever flags it have through single native proxy, and later through standalone Jupyter Server proxy. But you can wrap it and deploy it to your JupyterHub, and it will be available as an option for users. I touched on integrated versus standalone. Usually people using, you see a lot of examples using integrated applications running through JupyterHub. They would have a launcher in JupyterLab, which will allow you to launch RStudio or VSCode. But in this case, when you use integrated approach, you use Jupyter Server Proxy project, and it runs inside of your JupyterLab user server. It's best for users who come to notebooks first and maybe then need additional application to run from there. It is more simple. It shares your same user server, so it's the same authentication which you already logged in, and the same file system and hardware quotas. But it's also a downside because if you run your application or dashboard in the same server, it shares all the same quotas and resources as notebook. So if you at the same time go back to your notebook and run a kernel, you may run out of resources. So in this case, standalone may be a better option for you. It runs as a separate user server for JupyterHub, so you may give it a different resources and allocations. but it is separate resources from your notebooks if you have them. You might not even run, or you may even completely disable notebooks depending on your case and just make RStudio or Shiny available for people. And this is best for consumers of dashboards, less than coders. It provides you isolation, scales independently, and survives log out of your notebooks. For that, you use single native proxy project, which is not super well maintained right now, but the features were merged into Jupyter standalone proxy. And then a couple more slides to show kind of where we went from this. After implementing all of these different satellites or different applications in JupyterHub, we built you start to wonder like what you can do to improve your reproducibility. So in this particular case, everything runs on top of JupyterHub, but we implemented additional metadata layer, which will store your server's name, description, application you want to run. But also you can have additional things like what file to open when you open your dashboard, or what hardware you want, or different environments. And with this kind of approach, you can, we also were able to build very nice UI, but everything runs kind of on top of JupyterHub. JupyterHub provides spawning, authentication, and connects to this layer for API. By the way, I would love JupyterHub to have this UI for spawning servers, and I would love to contribute and work with whoever can make that happen. And yeah, so with this approach, you can create different launchers for a particular application here. So you can have those RShiny launchers or RStudio launchers, and you can route users directly to that, so they don't have to experience working with Notebook if they're not familiar and they don't want to work with it. Just a word on the reunion of single like standalone features with the integrated proxy. I think in May of this year, group of people got together and merged those features and enabled them. So if you use single native proxy before, you may take a look at Jupyter's standalone proxy. The command line flags are not one-to-one match, but you should be able to get all the same results as with single native proxy. And with that, I'm kind of finishing early to open up room for discussion. I want to hear maybe your questions or experience running non-notebooks application. Huge thanks to my team, formerly at Axel. All those people made it happen. So they own the code and the platform. So if you're interested in learning more about it, the docs are available. But if you're interested more in using it, please reach out to my former colleagues. But here I'm with Anaconda, so please go see a talk tomorrow by Kyle Kelly on runtime agents. And yeah, thank you so much.